so can everyone see that? Just making sure.
Yes.
Yep, all good. Okay. Now, also, Carmen, is everyone aware where the chat box is? And
the chat is open to everyone. So
yep.
write any comments in the chat. Yes, people are saying hello and yep, they know where the chat is.
Hang on, just going to go to the beginning. Sorry about that. Too far back. Here we are. Jumped a few slides. Okay, so welcome to tonight's session. So this is a bit of a preview of the 2-hour session that will be hosted by PDP later on this month. And it gives you a little bit of an idea of what will be covered in that session. So first of all, before we start, I would like everyone to open up the chat and write into the chat box what you understand under resilience. What comes to your mind? How would you describe it to a person who's never heard what resilience is? I'll give you a few minutes so that everybody gets a chance to write something. Very nice, Ling, all of the above. I like that one. And please also have a read what other people have written, because I think they're really great comments. Okay, so it looks like a real thread through it all is coping, strengths, flexibility. There are 3 themes that are coming up again and again. And that's definitely, they are definitely essential ingredients of resilience. So the actual definition of resilience, or one of them, there are many, there are literally dozens of definitions, is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, to learn from failure, to be motivated by challenges even, and to believe in one's abilities to deal with stressful and difficult situations. And it actually comes from the Latin verb resilire, which means to leap back. And here in just kind of halfway down, you can see that it's usually we're just thinking about leaping back, about recovering from, but resilient people, they often go a little bit beyond that. They actually learn from these situations and they flourish after. So it's a little bit beyond just coming back to baseline. Now, in general, when a difficult life event happens, we have different psychological responses. There, of course, sometimes there are physical responses that we need to just deal with something, maybe particularly if it's immediate danger, or maybe we need to move, or, you know, so there are those practical aspects. But psychologically, psychological responses are particular important aspects, and they can be adaptive, helpful, or they can be maladaptive, not so helpful. And what I would like you to do now is think of clients that you've had, or maybe other people you know, and again, write in the chat first adaptive responses that you have seen in people dealing with difficult life events. And I will write a few here onto the slide. Sorry, it doesn't look like it won't let me in. in presentation mode, so we'll just have to stay with the chat. So what helpful responses have you seen in clients? I've given you a few head start here with a couple of things in terms of helpful, self-awareness and problem solving. Or you can put unhelpful as well. I think it'll be easy to pick which category they fall in. Yeah, so seeking support, seeking resources, thinking of solutions, and then non-negative ones are like anger, denial, yeah, emotional irregulation, resorting to drugs and alcohol. I really like to encourage you to read all the responses that everybody has put in, because I think they're really useful. Projection onto others, that's a good one, yeah. So blaming others, yeah. And there's a positive one. A client started seeking her own interests and strategies. Giving up, withdrawing, there are two more negative ones, yeah. Great. Okay, so we've all seen this, this scope of responses that people can have. And in some of the latest research, there are 4 aspects that stand out as ingredients that resilient people particularly target in response to adverse life events. And so there are four processes, 4 areas that they target in particular, where they stand out in particular as compared to those who might not be as resilient. So the first is attention. So resilient people, they tend to pay more attention to the bigger picture. So rather than just honing in all the time on what is not going well, they look at the whole picture. It's not about positive thinking. It's just about, seeing the whole picture. They also have an appraisal style, the way they think about things, the way they evaluate things, that seems to be more realistic than people who are not resilient. People who are not resilient tend to have an appraisal style that is more catastrophizing. The third process that's really important in resilience is the coping strategies. And sometimes you will see in the literature that resilience is kind of defined as having coping strategies, but coping strategies it's just one part that contributes to resilience, but it is an important part. So the action coping strategies that people, how do they actually practically manage difficult life events? And then lastly, very important, the motivation. What motivates resilient people to manage negative life events? So these are the 4 areas that in the upcoming session on resilience later this month, there will be quite a lot on all 4 of those areas. Tonight we will concentrate just a little bit on the first one, attention, and the last one, motivation. So how much attention does a resilient person pay to positive versus negative life events? People who are not as resilient, they often have a negativity bias. So they remember negative events better, they even notice negative emotions faster. And that's while that is quite adaptive in dangerous situations, when we really need to run and we need to get out of harm's way, it is of course not so adaptive when there is no immediate physical danger. So the impact of this negativity bias is quite severe, because first of all, it's exhausting, because it causes this constantly being on, constantly being worried, being preoccupied, maybe being hypervigilant about possible danger. So it's very exhausting, and it constantly requires emotional regulation to kind of keep calm again, or to try to get out of that high state of anxiety. And because of that concentration on negative aspects, people who are less resilient and who have this negativity bias, they tend to overlook the encouraging aspects and the learnings and the opportunities that can come out of a situation. The negativity bias then can also contribute to avoiding the situation altogether, because it seems like it's all bad. So it's better to just be completely avoided, and then to depression, because there's a sense of helplessness, of not knowing what to do about it, or a sense of anxiety because the person is feeling very vulnerable. So reducing the negativity bias is a really important start in terms of getting people to be more resilient. And one aspect of reducing negativity bias is to discuss in a kind of psychoeducational way how we can look at the whole picture, the positives and the negatives. And another aspect is to increase mindfulness, because very, very often people are not aware that what they're actually paying attention to. They feel they're paying attention to everything, to the whole picture, when in fact they're only paying attention to one part of it. And so in order to learn to pay attention to multiple factors, people need to increase their mindfulness about what they're paying attention to. And so boosting mindfulness is a really important aspect, to be able to be mindful of the physiological processes that are going on, maybe the heart rate rising, the having sweaty palms, or feeling angry and not in the stomach, to notice that. It's sort of part of emotional intelligence. To also being able to notice the emotions that are rising, because that, of course, in emotional intelligence is particularly important in order not to react, to be reactive to a situation. And then also being mindful in order to notice those cognitive cues, those automatic thoughts that go through our head. So mindfulness is really, it's the basic step in terms of paying attention, because we first need to be mindful what we're actually paying attention to before we can change that. And one of the ways to learn that, of course, is mindfulness exercises. And so for tonight, I've just got a 3-minute body scan mindfulness meditation that I thought it would be nice if we could all engage in that. So I'm going to play that now. Please let me know if for some reason you can't hear it.
Begin by bringing your attention into your body. You can close your eyes if that's comfortable to you. You can notice your body seated, wherever you're seated, feeling the weight of your body on the chair, on the floor. You can take a few deep breaths. And as you take a deep breath, bring in more oxygen, enlivening the body. And as you exhale, have a sense of relaxing more deeply. You can notice your feet on the floor. Notice the sensations of your feet touching the floor, the weight and pressure, vibration, heat. You can notice your legs against the chair, pressure, pulsing, heaviness, lightness. Notice your back against the chair. Bring your attention into your stomach area. If your stomach is tense or tight, let it soften. Take a breath. Notice your hands. Are your hands tense or tight? See if you can allow them to soften. Notice your arms. Feel any sensations in your arms. Let your shoulders be soft. Notice your neck and throat. Let them be soft. Relax. Soften your jaw. Let your face and facial muscles be soft. Then notice your whole body present. Take one more breath. Be aware of your whole body as best you can. Take a breath. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you. I hope everyone had a chance to participate. I'd love to hear from you what it was like to do that. Was it relaxing, or maybe you couldn't relax in 3 minutes, or, you know, what was it? It doesn't matter. It's not about good or bad, just your experience. If you could put that in the chat, that would be great. So a couple of people have put relaxing. Sometimes what can happen with clients, that if you try to introduce this, clients might say, oh, no, I can't do that, because they think meditation means that they straight away have no thoughts in their mind. And there are lots of techniques, of course, how to introduce mindfulness exercises to clients, and there'll be lots on that also, both in the resilience session and much more so even in the emotional intelligence session as well. So every client can learn it. It's just a matter of how to bring it to them. Okay, so now we've come to our first breakout session, and in this breakout session, I would like you first of all to introduce yourselves to the other people that are in your breakout room, and then so go around and do that, and then discuss in which way the topic of resilience is important in your client work. So could I hand over to Carmen to assign the breakout rooms? Carmen, will you do that?
Doing that right now, Renata.
Thank you.
Sorry, they're just a bit slow starting. Okay, they're just opening now. So when you see that, you just join your breakout room. And at this point, we will open up your, we'll unmute all of you so that you can start your videos and open up your mics. bless you. Can't see how to. We've had some people drop in.
Sure. Good thing.
I don't know what's happening.
You all right? No, I love you. Yes, I do.
Hi, everyone. As we come back into the main,
Yes.
I'm going to hand you back over to Renata now.
We should be willing to help.
Hi, Carmen.
Just muted Renata by accident.
The main room, and you'll just need to cut that out of the recording.
We're going to hide ourselves again now. Where's that video button? I'm going to disappear very soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, so I'm just going